Hi, it's 6:30 on Wednesday afternoon or evening, and it's the day before May Day, which is a big celebration in Oxford. People will stay up all night or get up early and go down to Magdalen Bridge in the High Street for 6 o'clock and listen to the choristers of Magdalen College singing Latin hymns, singing in the spring, singing in the dawn. And then there'll be bands up the street and Morris dancing and various other things, possibly the head carrier maybe who carries a plastic head around on a pole. The lady with the fertility cake sword. Morris dances in Broad Street. Some sort of weird medieval mummers type play on the steps of the Sheldonian, probably complete with a green man dressed entirely in shrubbery and another guy wearing a horse's head. And altogether it'll be quite splendid, a little bit pagan and very odd and fun. And it'll all be over by about 8 o'clock because the council lorries will need to get through in order to start cleaning up, and people who are working that day will expect to be able to get through on their usual routes. But that'll happen early tomorrow morning, and for about 2 hours things will be other than normal. And it looks as though some people are gearing up for this now. As I say, I'm in the University Parks, which is the sort of ultimate Oxford safe space. As I've said before, it's the sort of place you know you can come and doze in the sun and fall asleep without somebody stealing your shoes or your glasses. What we have at the moment, I'm not sure what game those people are playing, if anything, but it seemed to involve some sort of frisbee. There's several people sunbathing. Without much evidence, I have a feeling that these guys are preparing for an all-nighter. And there are other sunbathers dotted around the lawn. I can see somebody who looks as though they're in a rugby shirt in the far distance. Think there's a small cricket game going on. That bat wielding looks like cricket. And there are other people dotted around over in that direction. And this is what the University Parks should be like every day, or at least every day in the summer. But it isn't usually like this every day in the summer because the weather isn't usually that good. And this year it is. And I think it is going to be a splendid run-up to May morning. This is a special day for me too, because it's a year ago since I did my first video. The first proper video, if you want to call it that, was May morning 2024, and I also did a shorter video of the Morris dancers who always perform in North Parade outside the two pubs, the Gardener's Arms and the Rose and Crown. But I wasn't sure how much time I would have on May morning to describe what was going on. So I walked the route the day before, April the 30th, and videoed that. And that was my first actual video. The video that I take tomorrow morning, hoping that I wake up in time, will be a repeat of my second. My video channel is called Walking Oxford, and a lot of it is long countryside walks. This year I've done several which celebrate the arrival of spring in various ways, such as walking Willow Lane, which is the path between Oseneymead Industrial Estate and North Hinksey. Looking at bud patterns on the trees. I've done long countryside walks, such as the Chilswell Path on the other side of the A34. And I've done several walks through the parks, over the Rainbow Bridge, which spans the Cherwell, and along paths beyond that. I've done canal paths, Annie's Tea Rooms twice in Thrupp, which is a village just north of Kidlington. I've looked at narrow boats around the Isis Lock, which is it's actually not very far from here. It's the south end of the canal. And I've looked at narrow boats in Thrupp. I've done town walks too, including some rather depressing ones. I did a trail of abandoned shops because I don't just want to show the pretty bits of Oxford. There's a lot of ways in which Oxford could be better. There are some disastrous architectural choices made by the colleges and others, and they deserve to be condemned. And the university must be one of the biggest landowners here, and it has made some appalling choices. The one that comes up all the time is the Castle Mill Flats, which spoil an ancient view into Port Meadow and onto St Barnabas Church in Jericho. And quite apart from that sort of deliberate unconcern, Oxford just doesn't work very well. Things don't get completed. The Botley Road has been closed for I don't know how many years, and is going to continue being closed until the end of 2026, when Kier Construction might finally finish rebuilding the station bridge, the railway bridge. So there are quite a lot of not very pretty but important things to show about the way that Oxford doesn't work. But this spring in particular, there is a lot of prettiness as well. I think we've had more sun this spring than we can have in the past 10 years. The glorious lockdown spring of 2020 came close. There was I think about a month of more or less uninterrupted sun, but I think this is better. And it's just glorious to see everything bursting into flower. You've had buds, you've had flowers, and you've got leaves, and all the greenery is out. And it is Arcadian. I imagine the Greek gods sitting and relaxing from their normal duties of turning people into swans, bulls and daffodils, and just scoffing cans of ambrosia and drinking amphoras of nectar. At least that's the way I'd behave if I were a Greek god. So I hope everybody enjoys tonight, and I hope nobody falls into the Cherwell, and I will see you tomorrow morning if I wake up and do May Day. See you then. Well, it's now 20 to 8. You can see that the shadows are much longer. I've been reading. And it does look as though people are gearing up for all-night parties. So as the sun sets slowly in the west, I shall go off and see you tomorrow morning.